feel stuck in life, in my opinion, this is the fastest way to go from here to here in the quickest way possible. Let's get it. All right, let me tell y'all a quick story, right? So it's 2015. I'm riding around with my partner, and we actually go to a daiquiri shop. You know, down in New Orleans, we got daiquiri shops where you go out and get your liquor. You know, if you know, you know. So we go to the daiquiri shop. We hanging out, and this was like a little normal spot we used to go to on a weekend, kind of unwind. You know, after work, after a tough week, and you know, we kind of hung out with our friends. It was a good meetup spot for all the fellas to meet up because we worked in different spots and stuff like that. So we'll go hang out at the daiquiri shop. So the people was up there was saying that they was going to a pool party. Now at this time, I'm actually doing the right thing. You know, I got my relationship or whatever, and I'm kind of still got a little bit play in me not for as chasing women or anything like that, but I didn't have any path on what I was doing in life. I was just kind of existing and kind of just coasting through things, right? I wasn't actually trying to pursue nothing in my career. I was just kind of just go to work, go out, party, then go back to work on Monday, and that was kind of it. So the people at the daiquiri shop say they got a pool party, right? So now at this time, I'm kind of in the transitioning of want to quit drinking, but I knew I wanted something better in life, but I couldn't figure out what it was, you know, and how to get it. So they telling me about a pool party, and I'm kind of like, I'm not really drinking like that. I'm kind of on damn. All right, so it's 2015, right? So I'm working at my job. You know, I got my old lady, I got the kids, you know, the whole thing, the whole American dream, as they say, right? So I'm working, and I'm kind of entry level at my job, and I've been here maybe about 10 years before, so I'm kind of at the halfway mark, and I'm just working, but I'm not really getting anywhere. So one evening I decided to go out and party, because this is what we did, you know, just like everybody else. You know, it's the weekend. I worked Monday through Friday, so I had my weekends off, and you know, I wanted to go hang out and, you know, unwind a little bit and drink and stuff like that, right? So we wound up going to the daiquiri shop, which is a little watering hole. We'll go down here, get our daiquiris and stuff like that. If you're from New Orleans, you know, we heavy on daiquiris and stuff like that, daiquiri shops, and, you know, drinks and stuff like that. So we'll go to the daiquiri shop, and that was kind of a meeting spot for all the partners to hook up and just go hang out. You know, we ain't really just do nothing up there. We just chill, laugh, and joke, and, you know, have our little drinks or whatever before we go home. So now this particular day, they have some people up there, and they're talking about they're having a pool party. So mind you, you know, I'm working out and stuff like that. Me and my other partner, we're working out. So he asked me, do you want to go to the pool party? So I'm like, yeah, we might as well. We're already up here. So we like, all right, let's go shoot to the pool party. So now we go to the pool party. Now, mind you, I'm kind of in the transition phase of wanting to drink but not wanting to drink. So I was kind of in between. I'm hanging, but I'm not really doing that extra partying like I used to do at this moment, because I'm in a transition phase. I'm in that in between, wanting to do right and change, but don't know how. So here's what happened. We go to the pool party. We have a good time. I mean, it's everybody from the daiquiri shop. We having fun. It was kind of almost like the same environment, but it was like now we incorporated a pool party with it, because I think it was somebody's birthday or something like that. But it was just like the following thing, you know, the sheep. You know, everybody else doing it. You know, I might as well go party too. Even though I was never really a follower, but I was a follower when it came to far as having fun or whatever. If everybody was having fun, I want to have fun too. I didn't want to be left out. So we wind up, we at the pool party, we having a good time. Everything went nice. You know, we were drinking, hitting the pool, and just to think about it, that probably wasn't a good idea. But anyway, you know, we had fun at the pool party. So now we're on the way home. Now, where I stay at from where the actual party was is from my house is almost 45 to 50 minutes from where I'm staying at. I'm staying in an apartment at the time. This was before we got our house or whatever. So staying at an apartment at the time, but it's on the other side of town. So we come from the pool party, me and my partner C-Rad, and we driving, and while I'm driving, and he's in the passenger side, right? So we riding down, and we kind of in this part of town that's kind of known from being racist, quote unquote, but we was out of bounds. We shouldn't have been over there, especially drinking and driving at the same time, right? So it was something that we shouldn't have been doing regardless, and especially on this part of town. So we riding up, it's this dark street, you know, we riding, and you know, we drinking it for a pool party, and I'm kind of slick-side tired on top of that because, you know, we was partying at the pool party. You know, you swimming and stuff like that, you know, you're gonna get tired, you know, because you swimming, and on top of that you drinking, you know, and plus, you know, this was on a Friday, so I had them worked all day, and then I wind up used to work all day and then go to the daiquiri shop, and then we'll go party or whatever after that. So this was just kind of extension. So I had all these things working for me, but it's still kind of early. It's maybe about 10, you know, 10, 11, you know, it wasn't super late or whatever. So we're riding up the street, and instead I could have made a turn to get on the interstate, and me just in my zone listening to music. My partner had then fell asleep, so we riding, and I went straight up the street further than I should have went, and actually instead of making a turn to get on the interstate, if I would have made that turn and got on the interstate, I'd probably been safe. So now I gotta drive way further up to get to the interstate, because once you miss that turn, you gotta drive maybe about another good 3 to 4 miles before you could get to another exit to get on, to go turn to get on the interstate. It wasn't just a straight shot. So as I'm riding, I kind of look back in my rear view. I'm like, oh, the police behind me. But I'm being cool. I'm like, all right, he behind me. You know, this has happened several times before. You know, I'm not doing anything. I got my seatbelt on. You know, I'm a little older now, so you know, I always ride with the safe belt, like Kanye said, you know. So I'm riding, and I got my seatbelt on. I'm like, we ain't doing nothing wrong, so he shouldn't mess with us. But I notice I get up a little further, then I get over, then he'll get over. So once I saw him do that twice, I tapped my partner, and I said, man, the police behind us, bro. Like, this is not good. So I'm like, I told him, don't hurry up and jump up. So now at the time, we still got, this how dumb I was. I still got an open cup in the car with me. Not a daiquiri, a regular drink. You know, I'm taking it driving with me. Now, I didn't have enough drinks at the party and stuff, but that was me always going overboard, want to actually do more and more instead of knowing when to shut it down and be like, all right, it's time to cut off the drinking and all that and go home. But that was part of my problem. So he wound up, boom, he hit the lights, bam. So I'm like, all right, I'm still in my mind, I'm like, I'm not drunk or anything, you know, in my rightful mind, because I'm like, you know, I only had a few drinks at this time. Like, I'm a drinker, you know, my tolerance level is way up here, you know. So I'm like, you know, I'm good. Like, you know, I wasn't swerving anything like that. So when he pulled me over, you know, he come up to the car, you know, he do the little license registration and all that, you know, which car. So he asked us where we coming from. So I said, you know, we come from a pool party. We sitting on towels, and you know, we got our t-shirt, but we got our swim trunks on. So he looking at the swim trunks, you know, what you call it. He like, you know, I say, oh, we come from a pool party, you know, and that's why, you know, we're dressed like that. You know, he's seeing us in beach clothes, but we're not, of course, we're not on the beach. So, you know, he was kind of looking at that suspicious. And of course, you know, you're swimming, now your eyes are a little red too. So, you know, he asked us about, do we got any weed in the car? So my partner, he smoked, but, you know, I didn't smoke. You know, so he like, I'm like, oh, I don't even smoke. You know, what you call, but it's kind of hard to say that. He looking at me with red eyes, and I'm telling him, you know, it must be for the chlorine or whatever, you know, within the pool. So, you know, he go back and run the name or whatever, come back, lights is clean. But he say, step out the car. So I'm like, for what? You know, I'm like, you know, I'm telling you, you know, but basically what I'm stepping out the car for, if everything came back good, I got my seatbelt on. I'm like, he was like, well, you didn't put on a signal when you changed lanes back there. I'm like, bro, like, come on now, like you pushing it, you know, like you really pushing it. So that was the excuse he used to pull me over. So I'm like, all right, whatever. But I'm like, why I got to get out the car? I'm steady asking why I got to get out the car. So he was like, have y'all been drinking? So now he got me stuck with that. I'm like, have we been drinking? Like, I only had 2 beers, you know, so because, you know, you got to kind of admit something. You know, that's the famous line everybody use, you know, any drinker know, and then they could tell you, if you're drinking, you know, you on here, that's our famous line. I only had 2 beers, you know. So basically, he like step out the car, and when I step out the car, he's like, you're not even paying attention. I could tell, like I could kind of smell it on you. And he said, you got an open cup in your car. I'm not even paying attention to that, because I wasn't even drinking it. They got the open cup with the whatever liquor I had in there, you know, like a little club cup. That's what it looked like. And he see like the liquor in there. He's, you know, obviously he could smell it. I'm not thinking, you know. So boom, he pulled me out. You know, we do the little field sobriety, you know, the little walk of shame and all that, you know, step the line, you know, all that crap. And then he gave me that look. I've been to jail so many times, like I knew what it was, you know. He like, you know, put your hands behind your back. So I'm like, oh man, like, now at this time, you know, I didn't told my girl that we were still she thinking that we still at the daiquiri shop. We didn't went to a party that I'm not even supposed to be at, you know. And now I'm getting handcuffed, and I try to tell my partner, you know, man, look, call my girl, you know, tell her, you know, about to go to jail, you know, whoop de woo, you know, she got to come get the call. So, you know, they wound up not taking him to jail, but they wound up taking me to jail. And that was the day that I kind of had enough, right? I was in between who I wanted to be and who I was, which was down here. So I knew that this was my last shot, you know, and I made a decision, you know, sitting there in the jail cell, like, man, this is it. You know, like, when I come out, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop, you know, partying like that. You know, I'm trying to get my life together. I'm going to actually try to pursue and try to become better, you know. So, and I sat there for like maybe about 2 days. I was able to go back to work on Monday and stuff like that. I sat in for the whole weekend. You know, good thing my job didn't know, you know, whoop-de-woo. And I wound up having to go to jail, man. But that was the last time I went to jail, you know, and that was over, you know, 11 years ago. You know, it's 2015, so 2026. Yeah, 11 years ago. And but it didn't change until I sat there and I said, enough is enough. And that's what you got to do. You gotta go from, I'm tired of having just this mid-level surface type stuff, to where I want to be great. I want to do better. I'm tired of losing. And that's the only way that you're going to completely change your life. You got to actually be fed up with how you living. And sometimes it's going to take you going to jail or you getting in trouble to actually change your life around. So until you make a decision, a true decision, and when I mean decision, that means to cut off everything, every other option that's not serving you no more. I don't care if it's alcohol like me, it may be weed, it may be women, it may be any other thing that's hindering you from getting to the next level. You got to shut it down, make a decision, say, I'm not doing this no more. And you use that pain to push you through. I kept thinking in my mind, like, man, I don't want my kids to see me as being this guy that always goes to jail, that's always drunk, and not actually pursuing his goals. He talk a good game, but actually don't live a good life like he want. So if you want to change your life and truly change, you have to make that decision and you have to stick to it. So some people probably saying, how do you make that decision? Use that pain of losing and make it greater than anything in your life. And every time you think about messing up, just think back to where, man, I don't want to be in that same position again. All right, y'all, this D Money. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you do all that good stuff. I'm out, baby. Peace.